Have you ever wondered how a fabric collection comes together? I'm here with Luana Rubin. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your background and how you've gotten interested in designing fabric or designing collections of fabric.
Well, I've worked in the garment and textile design industry for over 30 years, and when I came into the quilt industry, of course, I brought that with me, and that's how I came to work on this collection.
Tell me about the collection.
Well, this is a very cool project that I'm doing with SAQUA. They came to me about a year ago, and they said, how would you feel about designing a line that could be used as a fundraiser for the organization?
Now SAQUA is Studio Art Quilt Associates, right?
Right.
A lot of really talented artists.
All over the world.
Right.
I've seen exhibits of SAQUA literally all, Birmingham, UK. I know it's in South Africa, in Australia. So I said, you've got all these talented artists, why don't we turn it into a contest? And we can put a call out to all the artists, and I will curate, and then I'll bring the collection through the whole process.
Fascinating. Well, I don't know very much about the process. Can you explain how that works?
Yes. Well, there were 209 entries from all over the world, and we came up with 6 artists who are the finalists, which is very exciting for them.
I'll bet. What a thrill. Yeah.
There are a couple of them who are out there in the industry, but many of them, this is going to be their very first time that they've got their foot in the door with a fabric company. So it's exciting for them.
And these are some beautiful, beautiful fabrics.
Well, this is just on paper, and this is the other thing. It's all created and printed out on paper first, and then it goes through the process of the screens being engraved, the strike-offs, which are the first samples being cut, and here we're just looking at the artwork itself.
So is it going to look really different on fabric?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the idea.
Okay.
But let's talk about the whole process. So from those 6 pieces of artwork, those 6 artists, the very first piece that I want to talk about that really illustrates this process is this ombre print.
It's gorgeous.
It really is. And what's very interesting about this is the original piece of art was just basically here to here.
Wow, really?
So I looked at that for a long time and I said, this would make a really awesome selvage to selvage ombre print.
Right.
And of course the theme of this from the very beginning has been urban textures. So these are textures that you would see in the city, on the street, in buildings and architecture.
And I love this too because I can see so many design possibilities. I mean, you could cut strips and use it selvage to selvage in a quilt, or you could take just a small piece of it. You've got so many different values within one piece of fabric, which is really great.
Right. So we developed this idea, and we developed, of course, it's a 24-inch repeat. Anything that is being printed by screen has to be 24 inches, or it has to divide into 24 inches.
Okay.
So, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, etc., 2 times 12. So in this case, we wanted it to look like something that had been painted, but it actually is a repeat. Yeah. And that's not so easy to do, actually.
I can imagine.
But I think that, what they came up with turned out great. So then the next question would be, what about the color stories? So here we see 3 colorways of this one design. And of course, thinking about how we started with this, then we did a few different versions of this, and we said, ooh, a cool colorway, that's great. And then we came up with the warm colorway. So this kind of looks like water, this looks like fire.
And it's really nice change in values here. You've got light blue to almost a dark purpley blue.
Right.
Right.
And these are really analogous colors too. You can see kind of the turquoisey that go into more of the violet blue here, and then the gold that goes into the orange and the red.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So we're always thinking about how the colors can go with the rest of the collection.
Okay.
So the next artist who was chosen created this, which is very large scale, and I think we actually enlarged it a little bit. This is one of the things that we work with too. When we take, in this case, 6 different artists' work, and yet how do you bring it all together to make a cohesive collection?
You've got to have some big scale, some small scale. So did you blow some things up and shrink some things down? Okay,
yes.
to get to
so
that.
Just like we had to manipulate this to turn it into the ombre, this is pretty close to the original artwork, actually. And it was very exciting to see this because it really sort of informed and guided us to what we were going to do with the rest of the collection. So you can see the, the great drippy black splotches and lines, and yet the multicolor.
Right,
and you can see we were looking at this when we were inspired to create these 2 colorways.
So you've got some of the orange and some of the blue. Right.
Right. So this is what we call a bridge piece because it can be used with all 3 colorways.
Right. Okay. It connects them.
But of course, we like to have more than one color. So we also developed a cool colorway, and I'm going to put this on top of here so you can start to see
Beautiful,
how
right, you can see it go together.
Right.
Right.
And this was the warm colorway. So you can see it's the same design, but now we have all the colors that are picked up in this color
Great,
story over
great.
here. So that was exciting when we figured out, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a gray neutral, a cool, and a warm.
So now you've got some other fabrics that mix in with all of these.
Right.
So let's take a look at them quickly.
So this one, I believe the original artwork was inverted. It was dark scribbles on a lighter background.
Okay.
So we flipped it, but we kept it in the blue.
It looks more like chalk now on a chalkboard.
It does, and actually that's what we thought of when we saw it, so that goes with the blue. We said, hey, that's exactly what we're going to do. This looks like, you know, the kid staying after school, but instead of I will not, he's writing scribble, scribble,
Beautiful
scribble, and
scribbles.
being an artist.
Yeah,
right?
beautiful.
And this, of course, this is one of my favorites, the gold with the red that really pops. And it kind of has that fiery type scribble. But again, in a smaller scale, because you always want to have different scales. You want to have some multicolor, some dramatic, some that are calmer. So this is more of a calmer blender type of.
Right.
Or
So let's look at the others quickly.
So here we have what is bubble wrap.
Great.
And you can see
Beautiful.
that this was, again, manipulated to have more contrast and different color combinations. And this was a very interesting, we thought about this for a long time. It's kind of a, you know, digital looking zigzag. So we created a bridge color.
All right, so this
And
has
again,
both of them in it, right?
You can see how it's all working together, and the warm colorway. And then the last one, also one of my
Paint
favorites.
splatters, that's cool. Great.
And this reminds us of 50s linoleum,
It
right?
does, it looks like
Tiny
that,
little
yeah.
splatters.
Like in your elementary school.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And so there's the cool. And then here we have, again, two bridge, and you can see, when you lay them down next to everything, you can see how all the colors work together.
All beautifully work together, and I can see so many wonderful design possibilities here.
Yes.
So that's just great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having
Really
me.
enjoyed it.